I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home to slow the spread of the disease.
Never in peacetime have we seen anything like it. This is the story of Britain's first 2 weeks living in lockdown.
Hello, Ma. Hello. You okay?
Seen through the eyes of those living through it.
It's going to knock on into the next couple of years.
And some agonising decisions along the way.
If I don't go, then I won't receive this treatment that so far has been prolonging my life.
Millions of people are now left wondering how long this will last.
So we're just having a staff meeting over Zoom. This is our Year 6 team.
So my name's Huda Ali Aslam, head teacher at Ladypool Primary School.
My makeshift office in the front room.
Hello! Hello, Ma. Hello. You okay?
My mother is 80 years old and it's been really, really difficult not seeing her during this time. She has many underlying conditions.
We miss you. Miss you.
And all her grandchildren are desperate to see her.
Ismail, miss you too.
Yeah.
Give me a big smile.
I also have a daughter who is currently in her 7th month of pregnancy. And we've had to isolate her from all of us because we were still coming to school. And that's been difficult as well.
Bye. Just going out for my daily bit of exercise.
When the lockdown begins, it comes as a bit of a relief to Huda.
That week was probably one of the most stressful weeks of my career because I felt very responsible for the community that our school serves. I could see the anxiety in people's faces. They wanted me to have all of the answers, and I didn't have the answers.
Don't worry about a thing.
Matt and Grania have been self-isolating in their small house in Liverpool with 5-year-old Michael, 2-year-old Noah and baby Seren. Matt's a musician, but work has dried up since the lockdown and money is tight.
Every little thing is gonna be alright.
And the kids are bored.
Well, we don't have a lot of space. We've just got a little tiny little yard or garden. This is our little square outside the house. This is our street here. It's usually full of kids playing all day long and it's really quiet.
Hi, Maggie.
And for young Michael, the curb is now his classroom. He calls it Cool School.
How did you know this way was Cool School?
I just guessed. What's Cool School? Tell me what it is.
It's school. That is so cool.
Matt is desperate for an income and his only hope now rests on the government, who've said they'll help out self-employed workers who can provide accounts for the last 3 years.
Can protect jobs too.
It's funny, it's like the Tories have basically gone to socialism and said, come on, give us a hand. He's watching this guy. It's like watching a Labour Chancellor. It's really surreal.
So we've got a little makeshift office set up.
Scott and Laura are both self-employed. Laura's a wedding florist and Scott's a plasterer. Their work has ground to a sudden halt, but the bills are coming thick and fast.
No work from now until basically the end of June.
When you speak to them, they say there's a clause for pandemics, but you look at your actual contract and there's nothing in there.
It's about £50,000 in work just gone. This is where it really starts and things really start to hit the fan. It's going to have a really negative effect and it's going to knock on into the next couple of years. I don't know what to say.
And there you go, no message, nothing.
For some living in lockdown, the restrictions can mean the difference between life and death.
No, I'm afraid I haven't, Mum. Still waiting for these forms to come through.
This is Heather. In 2016 she was diagnosed with incurable lung cancer, but since then she's been receiving revolutionary treatment which is keeping her alive. But that treatment is in London, the epicentre of the pandemic in the UK. If she travels, she's been told she may not be allowed back on the island.
If I don't go, then I won't receive this treatment that so far has been prolonging my life. And if I do go and catch the virus, well, you know, I might be gone fairly shortly. Anyway, it's really difficult. It's quite a worrying time, but can only hope for the best and yeah, travel hopefully.
Hi, my name is Hasina Slack and it's Sunday the 28th.
Hasina lives with her husband Harry and 16-month-old Sufyan on the outskirts of Nottingham.
To be fair, Harry used to bake well before coronavirus had kicked off, but it's definitely come in handy now. So Harry's mum has just done a shop for us. This will last us for a good week. She's been really kind, just because we're self-isolating at the moment.
So we've just finished having our lunch.
Hasina is pregnant and she's also a key worker in her community. She decides to continue work, which means leaving the house.
What normally used to take me an hour takes me about 15-20 minutes tops now to get to work. So in some ways it's a good thing. People are listening about the social distancing and they're also listening about staying home.
So this is our parish centre, and normally every day of the week this place would be absolutely buzzing with people, and a whole host of other things take place in this building as well all throughout the year. And as you can see, it's just completely empty at the moment. The only person using this building is me because I've got to for the office. It's felt so strange not being able to have the power of human touch at this time. I mean, normally as you go about your day-to-day life, the natural thing for me as quite a tactile person would be to shake hands with people, to shake hands with people that you meet, to hug those we love and those who we work among and those who we serve. And it's felt so strange, so obscure not to be able to do any of that.
The government's lockdown has seen schools close and children sent home.
So we're taking out a box.
Come on then,
one
let's
box.
take it.
At Ladypool Primary School, head teacher Huda has reopened the doors so that some families can collect food parcels.
And then when the parents come, they can collect it and keep a safe distance from us at the same time.
This is the new life in the lockdown.
Yes, lockdown for them I'm sure is very difficult. Some of the families live in very small houses, so the work that we're sending home is going to be difficult for some of those parents to support their children within their households.
Are you worried about them?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I miss my children a lot and I'm checking that they're doing their homework every day. I am calling them at home to make sure that they're okay. I'm just worried that they're going to miss so much school, but I know they need to keep safe.
Our school is always buzzing with excitement, giggles, joy, laughter. It's not meant to be a deserted building.
The UK has experienced a big jump in the number of people who've died from coronavirus. It now stands at 1,415. 2,352 people have now died in the UK.
Things will get worse before they get better. That's the message from the Prime Minister in a letter being sent to 30 million households.
Even though the news is getting worse, communities adjust, and millions find a way to say thank you to those on the front line.
So I've just had my shift at work, just to make sure that I am keeping clean and making sure I wash my hands regularly. Won't be hugging Sufyan just yet, so gonna get washed up and then hopefully give him a big hug. Hello, gorgeous boy. Hello. How are you? Yeah, what are you doing?
today's topic was really about Boris Johnson sending out letters to say it's going to get worse before it's going to get better. So that was a bit of a weird feeling, I guess. It weren't great to hear. So yeah, it's given me some time to think today as to really what this has meant for us.
Right, so I'm just going through my direct debits to see what we can and can't sort.
I'm still no wiser whether I qualify for any of the help for self-employed people. Most of the people that I speak to that are self-employed, they're in the same boat. They don't think it applies to them, they're not sure.
Everyone's under the impression it's not their fault, which it isn't. So what the hell do we do?
Visiting my own granddaughter from a window is just as difficult, and I'm looking at her through FaceTime, how quick she's growing. She's 1 year old now, and every time her mum sends us a video, she's passed another milestone, and we're missing all of that, and that's really, really difficult.
For me as a priest, one of the greatest casualties I've witnessed over these past 2 weeks has been those who are grieving. Normally when you go to visit a family who are bereaved, you go to their home, you shake their hands, you sit down in their living rooms, you listen as stories are told of the person who they loved so much. You pray for them in person and you make them the promise that together you'll make the service as fitting a goodbye as possible, as perfect as possible. And actually I can't make that promise right now. I can't make the promise that the service will be as perfect as possible, because it won't. You're having to tell grieving families that they can't have flowers, that they can't have more than 10 people at the service, that they can't have the service in a church, that some relatives perhaps shouldn't be present because they're high risk, when you look around and there's key people missing there at the graveside. And we're just witnessing families fall apart, we're just witnessing immeasurable heartache. And whilst we can make the promise that in 3 months' time, in 6 months' time, whenever the time comes, that we'll have a memorial service that will say goodbye to their loved one in the way that at any other point they could have done, it's hard to escape the reality of how much this is delaying people's grief. And for some families, they're just never going to want to open up those wounds.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we're refueling the aircraft for safety reasons, please remain seated with your seatbelts on.
In the Isle of Man, Heather Christian has made the decision to travel to London for vital cancer treatment.
Hardly any pedestrians, not many cars.
The journey takes her to the heart of the UK's epidemic. Heather's treatment goes ahead as planned, and she's allowed to return home the same day. Britain may look very different right now, but there are glimmers of hope amid the uncertainty.
So I've managed to move all my wedding bookings apart from one. We took advantage of the free legal advice that we got with our insurance, which was the best thing we've ever done, because they got us a solicitor and it managed to get like any threat of legal action sorted straight away. So that's all done with. That's one stress off my mind.
Who would have thought 2020 would have turned out to be such a year? But I guess that if anything, it's shown how we come together as a community and how Britain is working together to get through this.
When this is over, I think the legacy of this whole coronavirus will be how we all came together as a community. Lockdown is keeping us apart from each other and it is creating some distance, but it's not going to break up our community. It's only, I think, making us stronger.